Well, what do you know, kids? It's almost new comic book day. Time to take a look at the solicitations, see what I'm getting, what's on the chopping block, and what's on the maybe list for May 12th, 2021. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. So if you're new here, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. Now, on this channel, I do comic book hauls, unboxings, reviews, and I do videos just like this one. This one is called What I'm Getting, where each week I go through this week's solicitations, what new releases are coming out, and I decide what I'm getting, what's on the chopping block, and what might be on the maybe list, just making a game day decision on. So if you're interested in that type of content, hit the subscribe button, then hit the bell icon so that you're notified whenever I post new videos. Now, let's go ahead and run down this list of comics. It's a big week. There's some really cool releases coming out. There's a release that's only going to be live for 24 hours. There's some really dope stuff going on. So let's get into it. But before we do, I do need to shout out today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Ultimate Comics Raleigh, my LCS, the best LCS in the world. They have amazing, friendly staff. The store is always clean and well stocked, well organized. You gotta appreciate that. But even better than all of those things, they get store exclusive covers, right? I didn't realize how big the retailer exclusives were until there was this one that I had that ended up going for like $1,000, and now I can't get it again. Crazy stuff. But anyway, this cover for Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters, the Alpha issue, this retailer exclusive with the cover by Tommy Lee Edwards, is for sale right now. You can get the trade dress cover for just $19.80, or you can get the trade dress and Virgin set for $59.99. If you want that set, then all you got to do is give Ultimate Comics Raleigh a call or hit them up on their Facebook page. And what's even cooler than all of that is if you're not local to the Raleigh area and you don't have an LCS, they can actually set you up on a mail order pull list. So you can get a subscription. You can get subscription discounts just like I do. Very great. I highly recommend them. I mean, I buy these books there every week. It's got to say something about that, right? But anyway, thank you so much to Ultimate Comics Raleigh for sponsoring this video. Now let's get into today's books, this week's books. Now, like I said, I like to go through the books that I'm most excited for first. And this one's gonna surprise you guys, so go ahead and brace yourselves. The book I am most excited for this week is Superman number 31 by Philip Kennedy Johnson. Yes, I am most excited for a Superman book. So you guys, if you're in the K Squad, then you know I have a ridiculous backlog of single issues that I'm trotting through, right? And so today, just before I filmed this video, actually, I read Superman issues 29 and 30 by Philip Kennedy Johnson, which were his first two issues on the title. And I really loved it. It's been a nice father-son story, bringing back John Kent, showing how Superman is coping or dealing with the fact that John Kent is older now. And also John being from the future, knowing that his time with his father is limited. So it's been really, really interesting to see that dynamic. The last issue ended on a cliffhanger where they're investigating this mystery, and things take a turn at the end. So I'm excited to see how that wraps up, or if it wraps up in issue 31. But yeah, Superman, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson. The art team has switched a lot, so I'm not sure who's doing art this time around, but it's got a cover price of $4.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. So starting off the pull list with a shocker, let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the DC comics coming out this week that I'm buying. So first up is the Batman ScoobyDoo Mysteries number 2. You guys already know I love YA titles. I love just fun stories. ScoobyDoo, I used to watch ScoobyDoo as a kid. I know Scott from Brown Coat Reviews did the same thing. And so Batman and ScoobyDoo being two of my favorite childhood cartoons, I had to buy Batman ScoobyDoo Mysteries. I still haven't read issue 1. I gave it to my daughter, and I know she read it, but I never grabbed it so I could actually read it myself. But number 2 has got a cover price of $2.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. Really excited about that. Next up is Batman the Detective, number 2. Batman the Detective by Tom Taylor and Andy Kubert. A fun series. It's a quick mini series, right? It's a 6-issue series. Batman in England trying to figure out what's going on, like this disaster has been caused by Batman. There's always that question of, does trouble come because Batman is there, or does Batman come because trouble is there? Either way, it always makes for some interesting scenarios, and Tom Taylor's my favorite writer in comics right now, so you already know I'm picking this up. But yeah, issue 2 has got a cover price of $3.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. Next up on the list, I'm sensing a bit of a theme here. Batman, Urban Legends #3. Urban Legends being an anthology series with stories by a bunch of people, including Chip Zdarsky and Brandon Thomas, two of my favorite writers right now. So I'm picking it up until they wrap up this first story arc with Batman, the Grifter, and the Outsiders, and all of these things. Honestly, I don't need to read another anthology book. I'm kind of tired of anthologies and like backup stories being in the main books. Like, I just want to read the story I came for, but I gotta finish up this story arc. So Batman Urban Legends #3 does have a cover price of $7.99. Yes, $7.99. I'm just getting the cover A. Next up, Challenge of the Super Sons #2. You guys know, well, maybe you don't. I love me some Super Sons. Like I said, I love fun comic books, and Super Sons is chief among the fun comic books. So this is a little, off-the-road adventure kind of set supposedly in continuity sometime between the original Super Sons and John Kent being aged up. But again, it's Damian and John Kent. Like, there's nothing but love that I have for those two characters, especially together. So Challenge of the Super Sons #2, it's got a cover price of $3.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. And lastly, the last book on my DC Comics pull list is The Joker, issue #3. Now, in my backlog, I actually did start reading The Joker last week. I got about halfway through issue #1. It was really suspenseful, but then I had to leave to do something, and I forgot about it. But I really enjoyed it. It's very much focused on Detective Gordon. I love, like, just the way it's been set up, the way the issue has been set up so far. Anyway, we won't get into a review. My point is, the book has been exciting. I'm excited to get caught up, and issue 3 has a cover price of $5.99 for some reason. So I'm going to pay it, and I'm just going to get the cover A. Although, that David Finch cover B looks really dope. It looks really dope. But yeah, just cover A. So if I just stick to the list, which there's no room for anything else on that list, my DC comics are going to cost me $30 this week. Definitely a heavy week from DC, but we got an anthology book in there. Yeah, so it's just a heavy week from DC Comics. But we'll follow that up with a light week from Marvel Comics. My first book on the Marvel pull list is Children of the Atom #3. Now, I know I was just telling you guys about Teen Titans Academy and how I was like kind of over the sidekick-centric stories, but I enjoy Children of the Atom issue #1. I haven't read issue #2 yet, but it's like X-Men who aren't really X-Men, like the sidekicks who aren't really sidekicks. They don't want to go to Krakoa for some reason. Something's going on, and I'm wanting to see what's going on with that. The names of these new characters is kind of weird, but I like the story so far. So, Children of the Atom #3, written by badideahello, if I'm not mistaken, but it's got a cover price of $3.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. Now, next up is Spider-Man, Spider's Shadow #2, written by Chip Zdarsky. This is what if Spider-Man had never taken off the Venom symbiote. What would have happened? I didn't get around to reading issue 1 yet. That's a recurring theme here, by the way, and it hurts me every time I have to say that. But I heard nothing but rave reviews, and it's only a 4-issue miniseries, so I'm not going to drop it no matter what. So Spider Shadow #2 has a cover price of $3.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. And next up on the list is a brand new #1 from Marvel Comics in the X department, X-Corp #1. Now, this is supposed to be picking up on some themes that we got planted way back in House of X and Powers of 10, right? Krakoa is this new island where the mutants can roam free and be safe. They've got their own sovereign nation that's recognized by all the other nations in the world. And in exchange for that recognition, they've decided to let this drug become available, and they're funding their existence through this corporation, the X-Corp. Like I said, it's a pharmaceutical company. It's basically what's making Charles Xavier one of the richest men in the Marvel Universe. But how does it work? Is there like weird mutant things going on that manipulate people into buying? Exactly how is this corporation working? Who are the mutants working for it? How does it work? So I'm excited to see what that's all about, which team or which characters are in the book, and how it's going to go. I'm getting the cover A, but I love the, well, I don't know if it's the cover B or what, but there's a Scotty Young variant featuring Wolverine and Archangel, and that's just really dope too. So I'm excited about the book. It's got a cover price of $4.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. So that's my Marvel pull list. There's only 3 books there. Number three, my lord. So if I stick to the list, my Marvel books are just going to cost me a measly $13. All right, so Marvel's done, DC's done. Let's talk about everyone else on the list. So I don't call this the indie section anymore because there's some pretty big publishers who are outside of the big 2. But the first is not as big. From Scout Comics, this is Black Cotton, issue number 2. Now, Black Cotton is a series that explores the idea, like, what if current race relations were reversed? What if, white people were in the minority? How would life work? So there's a police shooting. The police shoot an unarmed minority white woman, and there's ramifications from that act happening. Now, I haven't read Black Cotton issue number 1. I actually saw it after FOC and my LCS hadn't ordered it, so I don't have a copy of issue 1. If you've got one you want to send me, let me know. Somebody hit me up like, hey, I got one to send you. But I decided to go ahead and subscribe to the series anyway, so issue 2 is on its way to me. It'll be here, on Wednesday with my pull list. So Black Cotton number 2, it's got a cover price of $3.99. And I'm just going to get the cover A. I don't think there's a variant for it. Next up, from Image Comics is Geiger number 2, written by Jeff Johns, with art by Gary Frank and colors by Brad Anderson. Jeff Johns and Gary Frank are an amazing team. Like, they did Doomsday Clock. They've done a million other things in the past. So I expect this to be good. I picked up issue 1. I had the glow-in-the-dark cover and all that, but I haven't read it yet. But I mean, it's Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. Is there really anything else to say about it? So I'm going to pick up issue 2, and by the time issue 3 comes around, I will have gotten caught up. So we'll see how good it is. It's got a cover price of $3.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. Next up is a very limited book. Now, last week, I have to apologize, because last week I misinformed you guys. I thought that Whalesville from Bad Idea Comics was the 24-hour release only book, but it's not. It's this book. This is Hank Howard, Pizza Detective number 1, written by Robert Venditti. I forgot who's doing the artwork. But all the hype around this book, it's a $1 book, right? $1 books are going to go quickly anyway, but all the retailers, which Bad Idea doesn't even go to very many retailers, but all the retailers have been instructed, if people don't pick up their box on Wednesday, destroy that book or send it back to them. So just make sure you go get it. Go get it. You're going to need the book. Just go get it. So Hank Howard, Pizza Detective number 1. It's definitely a hype buy, but I'm hoping the story is good. I've heard nothing but great things about Robert Venditti, and it's got a cover price of just $1. Next up on the pull list is a book that I was supposed to drop. This is Mighty Morphin issue number 7. I've told you guys in the past, I've not read a single issue of Mighty Morphin or Power Rangers since they started coming out, 4 or 5 months ago. I've just been buying them for the covers because the covers have been spectacular every single time. And yeah. The covers are good. So I was supposed to drop the title because I'm like, all right, I don't need this title. I'm not reading it. I don't pick it up every week to read it. But then issue 7's cover. You got Lord Zed walking into the command center facing a very intimidated looking Zordon. What is going on? It makes me want to read the story, even though I haven't read the other 6 issues. Stop making the cover so good and I'll stop buying this book. Mighty Morphin number 7's got a cover price of $3.99. And I'm just getting the cover A. And lastly, on the others pull list is Seven Secrets #8. Seven Secrets by Tom Taylor. I'm behind on this series, but it's Tom Taylor. Seven Secrets is actually one of my favorite books coming out. I'm kind of embarrassed that I'm behind on this one, but I'm behind on everything. Listen, I got a baby and my baby's in the hospital, so I'm behind. If it didn't come out in a hardcover and I can't carry it with me to the hospital, I'm likely behind. So Seven Secrets #8, I can't speak to the story, but I loved it going all the way up to issue 6. And hey, I don't expect it to slow down anytime soon. Seven Secrets #8, I'm just getting the cover A. It's got a cover price of $3.99. So that's my pull list for all the other publishers. And if I just stick to the list, I'll pay a lousy $17 for the books on that list, which brings my grand total to a over budget $60. My subtotal is $60 this week. I try to stick to $50 or less. Let's be real. If I just drop Batman Urban Legends #3, all would be well. And I just might do that. I just might do that still. But that's my pull list this week. I want to know what you guys are getting. So let me know in the comments below. What's on your pull list? What books are you excited for? Was there something that I named in this video that you didn't know about? Are there some honorable mentions? Are there books that are coming out this week that look interesting, but you're just not going to pull the trigger on? I got a couple of those, but we don't have time to talk about them all. But yeah, so what's on your pull list? I want to know in the comments of this video. If you want to talk comics with us all the time, you should just join the K Squad. It's my private group on Facebook where we do single issue reviews. We got fan art cover swaps going on. We got our book club going on. We're reading Grendel, Kentucky. And then the next book on the book club is Captain America and the Winter Soldier. There's a lot of really great things that go on inside that Facebook group. And if you want to be down for all of that, plus exclusive giveaways, like every month I give away an omnibus, you should definitely join. It's free. That's all I can say. So join the K Squad, bjkicks.link/K Squad, or just hit the link in the description below. I hope you saw something you liked in this video, because I'm doing another one really, really soon. But until then, like I said, hope you saw something you liked, and if not, hey, that's cool. You can always buy what you like. Do your best to read what you buy, and be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.